My best friend insisted I cover her vacation costs, saying, "You travel all the time, so what's one more ticket?" When I refused, she blocked me. Months later, she showed up at my door, crying she had been stranded abroad with no money. I took a deep breath and said, "Looks like you finally took a trip into reality." So this happened a little over a year ago. I, 39 female, have always loved traveling. Not in an Instagram influencer kind of way, but in a work hard, save hard, then go see something new kind of way. I'm a medical transcriptionist, I work remote, and I've been doing this for over a decade. I'm not rich, I'm just disciplined. I don't have kids. I don't spend much on clothes or stuff I don't need. I save, then I travel, usually solo. Over time, I've shared pictures and stories with friends. Some were supportive. Others? Not so much. Enter my former best friend, Natalie. Natalie and I met in community college and were close for almost 15 years. She's funny, charming, and always the life of the party. But she also lives paycheck to paycheck. Always has. She never saved money, always had some excuse. Life's short, treat yourself, was her mantra. Cool. Do you? But she'd also make little jabs whenever I traveled. Stuff like, "Oh, must be nice," or "Hope you remember us per folks back home while you're sipping wine in Spain." I brushed it off for years. Thought it was just harmless bitterness. Then one day, it got real. We were having coffee, and she brought up this trip I was planning to Italy. It was something I'd been dreaming about for years: Tuscany, Venice, Rome. I'd finally budgeted everything out, had my tickets booked, Airbnb set, even left a little wiggle room for nice meals and museums. I was excited. That's when Natalie said, dead serious, "You travel all the time, so what's one more ticket? You should take me with you. I could use a break too." I've never left the country. I honestly thought she was joking. I left. Big mistake. She frowned. "I'm not joking. You've been all over. You've got the money. You can afford one more ticket." I was floored. I said something like, "Natalie, I plan these trips months in advance. I save like crazy for them. I can't just cover someone else's costs. That's not how it works." She scoffed. "It's not like you're poor. You just don't want to share." That hurt. I'd always been generous with her meals, rides, emotional support, even lending her money back in the day, which she never paid back, by the way. But a free international trip? That was insane. I said no. Firmly. Politely, but clearly. That's when things went nuclear. She left in a huff. Didn't answer my texts. A day later, she blocked me on everything: Instagram, Facebook, even Venmo. Our mutual friends were confused. Some asked me what happened, but she'd already painted me as the villain. One friend even told me, "She said you abandoned her when she needed you most." I let it go. Or tried to. I wasn't going to chase someone who threw away 15 years of friendship over a vacation. Fast forward about 6 months. I'm back from Italy. It was amazing, by the way. Everything I hoped for. I'd posted a few pictures, nothing over the top. Just food, views, art. I figured Natalie was out of my life for good. Until she showed up at my door. I live in a small town just outside Portland, Oregon. It was a stormy night, classic Pacific Northwest rain, cold and heavy. I hear a knock. I open the door, and there she is. Natalie. Soaked, red-eyed, clearly upset. I don't say anything at first. I'm just stunned. She looks thinner. Tired. Not her usual confident self. She says, "Can I come in?" I nod, step aside, still not sure what the hell is happening. She sits on my couch, clutching the hot tea I give her like it's the only warmth she's had in weeks. Then she spills the story. After our falling out, she got mad. Really mad. She told herself I was selfish, that she deserved a break, that I was just being stingy. So she decided to take a trip on her own. To prove something, I guess. She found some cheap last-minute deal to Thailand, probably one of those sketchy budget package tours that promise paradise for $499. She put it all on a credit card. Didn't tell anyone. Flew out a few weeks after I left for Italy. Turns out, things went sideways quick. Her wallet got stolen on day 3. She lost her passport. Her travel insurance? She never bought any. Her bank locked her cards after suspicious charges. She tried to stay in hostels, then cheaper and cheaper ones. Eventually, she had to go to the US Embassy in Bangkok for help. They gave her a loan to get home, but it wasn't easy. She had to wait for approval, prove her identity, scrape together documents. She was stuck there for over a month. Alone. Broke. Terrified. I listened in silence. She cried halfway through it. Said it was the worst thing that's ever happened to her. Said she thought about me a lot. About how wrong she was. About how foolish it was to think travel was all luxury and no risk. Then she looked at me, tears still on her cheeks, and said, "I didn't know who else to go to. I'm sorry." I took a deep breath. Everything in me wanted to scream. But instead, I just said, "Looks like you finally took a trip into reality." She laughed. A broken, painful laugh. Then started crying again. So here we are. She's back, she's broke, and suddenly she wants to be friends again. My friends are divided. Some say I should help her. Others say leave her to clean up her own mess. I don't know what I'll do yet. I haven't made up my mind. But I do know this. No matter how close you are to someone, you never really know how they see you until you say no. I learned that the hard way. So now Natalie was sitting there in my living room, wrapped in one of my old throw blankets, her hair still damp from the rain, tears drying on her cheeks. I didn't say much after my comment. I let the silence sit there. She wasn't just broke. She was broken. But here's the thing, I wasn't angry in the way I thought I'd be. I was tired. Tired of being the one people come to when everything falls apart. Tired of people mistaking kindness for weakness. Natalie stayed the night. I offered her the couch and an old sweatshirt to sleep in. She didn't even argue. She was just grateful. Or maybe too ashamed to say anything else. The next morning, I made coffee, sat across from her at the kitchen table, and finally asked, "So what now?" She looked up slowly, like she'd been hoping I wouldn't ask. "I have nowhere to go," she said. "I'm months behind on rent. I lost my job while I was stuck over there. I burned through my savings, what little I had. I don't even have a car anymore. My parents won't help. I thought maybe you could crash here," I finished for her. She nodded. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a visit. She came here with a plan, or at least the hope I'd say yes. Natalie may have hit rock bottom, but she still hadn't learned how to take responsibility. She still expected someone to catch her. And she thought I would. I told her I needed time to think. She agreed, looked relieved. She even offered to help around the house, like she was trying to earn her keep in advance. But something felt off. Too quick. Too practiced. Over the next few days, she was on her best behavior. Washing dishes. Tidying up. Cooking. But I've seen that side of her before when she needed something. Then things started getting weird. I came home one day and noticed my laptop wasn't where I left it. Nothing was missing, but it had clearly been moved. I brushed it off, told myself I was being paranoid. Then I found her in my room, on my bed, scrolling through my phone. She said she was looking for her charger. My charger was in a different room. I didn't say anything that day, but I started locking my door when I left the house. I also started noticing that money was missing from the kitchen jar I keep for laundry quarters. Just a few bucks at a time, nothing huge, but I knew. I knew it was her. One night I asked, "Did you take some change from the kitchen?" She blinked, caught off guard. "No. Why would I do that?" I stared at her, waiting. She held the lie like a wet towel, heavy and obvious. That night, I dug deeper. Checked my emails, changed my passwords. Sure enough, there were failed login attempts on 2 of my accounts, my PayPal and my backup Gmail. Someone had tried to reset my passwords. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted to be sure. So I did what anyone in my shoes would do. I set a trap. I left my tablet on the table, screen off, with a fake email draft open. The subject line was travel refund confirmation. I made the body look like I'd gotten refunded for a flight I never took, over $1,200. I left the tablet locked, but with notifications turned on. The next morning, I went out for a walk. Came back. Checked the tablet. Notification was gone. Email had been opened. Later that night, I checked my backup Gmail again. Another attempt to reset my PayPal. That was it. That was my line. I didn't say anything right away. I wanted to hit back when it would sting most. In the meantime, I reached out to someone I hadn't talked to in years, Natalie's ex, Marcus. They'd dated for 4 years. She treated him like trash. Left him for some guy she met at a bar. Last I heard, he was living in Seattle and working in IT. We talked for almost an hour. Marcus told me everything. Turns out, this wasn't the first time she'd used someone's kindness against them. When they broke up, she drained his savings account by guessing his password. Took his rent money. Maxed out his credit card. She even stole his Xbox, pawned it, then blocked him. He said, she's good at making people feel sorry for her. Until she doesn't need them anymore. I asked him for one favor. He didn't hesitate. While Natalie slept on my couch, thinking she'd finessed her way back into my life, Marcus was setting up something special, a small digital footprint that would trace back every IP address she used on my Wi-Fi. Just enough to tie the login attempts back to her device. 2 days later, I had the report. Every login attempt came from her phone, her iPad, even her smartwatch, if you can believe that. So now I had proof. But I wasn't done. I needed to wait for the right moment. One where she'd feel like she was safe again, that she'd gotten away with it, that she was back in control. So I waited. The only thing I needed now was the perfect revenge. And I had an idea. But I'm not pulling the trigger just yet. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's slow. It's silent. It's watching someone build their own trap. And then locking the door behind them. I kept playing along like nothing had changed. Natalie was getting comfortable again. Too comfortable. She started walking around like she owned the place. Putting her shoes on the coffee table. Answering the door like it was her home. Borrowing my clothes without asking, even ruined one of my favorite sweaters in the wash. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Every day, I saw more of the old Natalie creep back in. The version that believed everyone owed her something. The one who smiled sweetly while calculating how to use you next. She started dropping hints about staying longer. It's been really healing being here, she said one morning while eating eggs I bought. I feel safe for the first time in months. Then came the big ask. So, I've been thinking, she said one evening, real casual. If I could just stay until I get back on my feet, maybe 3 or 4 more months, I'll find a job soon. I've already applied to, 5 places. I nodded slowly. Sure, I said. Take your time. What she didn't know was that I had already installed a small camera in the hallway, disguised as a plug. I was tired of guessing. I wanted full evidence. I had a bad feeling she'd try something bigger. And I was right. A few nights later, I got home late. She was asleep on the couch. I walked past without saying anything. Went to my room. Locked the door. Turned on the hallway camera feed. She wasn't asleep. I watched her get up 5 minutes after I got in, go to the kitchen, open my file drawer, the one I always kept closed but hadn't locked. She took out a folder. My folder. The one with all my travel documents, backup IDs, even a copy of my social security card. She took pictures with her phone. Every single page. Then she carefully placed everything back and slipped into her blanket again, like nothing happened. I felt my whole body go cold. I'd been so careful. So patient. She wasn't just using me. She was preparing to become me. Or at the very least, use my identity. That changed everything. The next morning, she acted normal. Made coffee. Asked if I wanted toast. I smiled. Said, thanks. I needed time to act, not react. I contacted Marcus again. Asked if he knew someone who dealt with identity fraud cases, someone trustworthy. He put me in touch with a guy he knew from a cybersecurity firm in Seattle. A real professional. I sent him the footage, the login attempts, everything. He walked me through the steps to secure my credit, freeze my accounts, and file a quiet report with the FTC. I wasn't pressing charges yet. Not until I had everything lined up. Then, another twist. Natalie got a call from someone. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I caught a name, Eliza. Later that day, I get a Facebook message from an account I don't recognize. The name? Eliza McRae. The message said, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I think we need to talk. It's about Natalie. She said you're helping her, but you should know she owes me money. Like, thousands. She skipped out on rent, utilities, and took some of my stuff when she left. I've been trying to find her for months. She blocked me on everything. Then I saw a pic on someone's tag stories. She was at your place." So not only was Natalie trying to steal from me, she had already left a trail of unpaid debts and broken trust behind her. I replied to Eliza, asked for proof. She sent screenshots, receipts, even a police report. I felt sick. I realized something bigger. I wasn't the first. I probably wouldn't be the last. Natalie had a pattern. When she burned one bridge, she just found another. Always with a smile. Always with a sob story. But this time, she picked the wrong person. She thought I was the quiet one. The easy one. She forgot one thing. I don't fight fire with fire. I fight with facts. I fight with silence. And I was building something she wouldn't see coming. There was one more piece I needed. Something that would tie it all together. So I gave her space. Let her feel safe again. I told her she could stay another month if she helped cover groceries. She smiled, hugged me, then went into my room when I left the next day. I let her. She found what I planted, a fake credit card bill with my full details, accidentally left on my desk. Another trap. That night, a new login attempt came in. Caught in 4K. Again. Now I had camera footage, text logs, IP data, a witness from her past, and signs of intent to steal my identity. But I still wasn't ready to end it, because I had one last twist in mind. I just needed her to get a little more desperate. And she was getting there. She started asking for small loans. Just $20 for gas. Can I borrow your card to get some groceries? I'll Venmo you back. She never did. I smiled, told her it was fine, and waited. Because when she finally tries to cross the line for real, I'll be standing right there on the other side, and she won't see it coming. The day everything unraveled didn't feel special at first. It was a Thursday. Gray skies. Quiet morning. Natalie was in the kitchen, humming like she hadn't spent the last few weeks mining through my private life. I watched her pour coffee into the mug she now claimed as hers. She had no idea the walls were closing in. I had set it up perfectly. That morning, I accidentally left a fake preloaded debit card on the counter, something anyone could use without a PIN, just swipe and go. It had maybe $20 on it, and I'd already notified my cybersecurity guy to monitor activity if it was used online. I went out for a few hours, told her I had errands, waited in my car down the block, watching my phone. 3 hours in, a charge notification popped up. Online purchase. Electronics store. She took the bait. I went home, calm and quiet. She greeted me like always, "Hey, you want me to make dinner tonight?" I nodded, walking past her, holding the proof in my phone like a loaded gun. That night, I invited 2 of our mutual friends over, Jamie and Ava. They hadn't picked sides when we fell out. They had suspicions but stayed neutral. I told them it was just a chill dinner. Nothing serious. Natalie was excited, even set the table like she was the host. Made pasta from a jar, joked like everything was normal. And then, after dinner, I stood up, phone in hand. "Hey Nat," I said calmly. "Want to tell us how you've been spending your time while crashing at my place?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" I pulled up the video feed from the camera. Played it. Her in my file drawer. Her taking photos. I swiped again. Showed the login attempts. IP matches. Her devices. And then, the receipt. The card she used. The fake card. Her face drained of color. Jamie's jaw dropped. Ava looked away. "I trusted you," I said, voice shaking now. "I let you in when no one else would. You repaid me by trying to steal my identity. What the hell is wrong with you?" Natalie stammered. I didn't mean to. I didn't know how to ask for help. You didn't ask," I snapped. "You stole. You lied. You made me feel guilty for not taking you on a trip, and then you tried to become me when I didn't give you what you wanted." Tears welled up. She reached out. Jamie stood up. "You did all that? What the hell, Natalie?" Natalie turned to her. "I didn't mean to take anything. I needed a way out." "You needed a plan," Ava cut in coldly. "But instead, you made one out of your friend's life." She collapsed into the chair. Full breakdown. Sobbing, gasping. "I didn't want it to go this far," she said. "I was scared. I lost everything. And you," she pointed at me, "you just kept living this perfect life like none of it touched you. You have everything. I just wanted a piece of it. You wanted to take it," I corrected her. "And you didn't care what it cost me." Silence. A long one. Then she whispered, "I'm sorry." But it was too late. Jamie left first, shaking his head. Ava stayed back a minute, hugged me quietly, said, "If you need help getting her out, I'll come back with my brothers." Natalie stayed seated, not speaking. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I told her flatly, "You need to leave. I'll give you 2 days. After that, I changed the locks." She looked up at me like a kicked dog. "I have nowhere to go. You should have thought about that before you treated people like they were disposable." She left 2 days later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't even leave a note. I watched from the window as she walked down the driveway with a single duffel bag. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel satisfied. I felt like I had buried something. The weeks after were quiet. Peaceful. But heavy. I changed my passwords, my locks, my routines. The damage wasn't just digital, it was emotional. I stopped trusting easily. I found myself second-guessing people's intentions. I even started therapy, just to sort through the confusion. Jamie checked in sometimes. Ava too. Mutual friends started realizing I hadn't been the villain she made me out to be. Marcus sent me one last message. "Told you she's good at this. But you were better." Natalie's name comes up less now. But when it does, it's usually followed by someone saying, "What happened to her?" I don't answer. Because the truth is, she happened to herself. As for me, I learned the hard way that boundaries aren't cruel. They're necessary. And being generous doesn't mean being blind. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not sad either. I'm just done. And maybe that's the most powerful place to be.